What is going on, Vype Nation? Another Monday show for you. It's me, Wac, joined by, as always, Scotty T, and coming live to you on YouTube and Periscope. When I hit stream, I hit stream all, and it went to our Periscope that we had out there. So if you're on the Vype, if you see us on the Vype Houston Twitter account Periscope, we decided, hey, let's just leave it up there. That's how we like to do things here at Vype. Always unpredictable. There you go, Scotty T.
It's there.
How you doing today, man?
Man, I'm doing good. It is Monday, lunch, but we're here for lunch because everybody's on the lunch break, so that's when we decided to do our show so that you can watch us here, whether it be on Periscope, YouTube, or whatnot, for a Monday. I think I'm thriving today, Josh.
Well,
I don't know about you, but it's a good day.
That's why we do the Monday show. We gotta feed you that sports, that sports info that you've been craving all weekend. So that's why we come to you at lunch. And what a big weekend it was. I mean, hey, here we for this show on the Monday show, we like to talk a little, college, a little pros. And as you know, this past week, NFL draft. Scotty, what did you think about the draft?
I thought it was obviously the first two picks are fairly predictable. So, kind of fun fact, I'm here in the Houston area, so the Houston Texans are on the topic of mind here, and drafting a quarterback first round. I don't know what that says about Deshaun Watson's future, but it's probably not good, or maybe that is an indication that his future in Houston is very limited now. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure to speculate. But Trevor Lawrence goes first overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I thought that was pretty cool. So fun fact about me. So I mentioned the Texans, I actually lived in Jacksonville for a little bit. And so it was tough for me to cheer for the Jags because they're in the Texans division. But I cannot think of a more neutral team than the Jacksonville Jaguars. Nobody likes them. Nobody definitely hates them. They're just there. So I'm pumped for the city of Jacksonville. Getting Trevor Lawrence, I really like the pick. And then Zach Wilson going to the Jets. I mean, the Jets are good. The Jets are going to Jets, right? So hopefully it works out for them. But his picture of him on draft night just went viral. It looked like a senior posting for his prom date before he went to go pick her up or something like that. Just like, who is this guy?
Well, first off, I think a lot of Jacksonville Jaguar fans are now really upset about you saying no one cares about them.
Look, all right, so this is a true story, though. I go to the Florida-Georgia game, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, which is a great time. And my buddy, he didn't have a dog in the hunt. He didn't care who won, Florida or Georgia, but he wears a Jacksonville Jaguars shirt. And he goes, nobody hates the Jags. Everybody's going to love it. And sure enough, he got compliments everywhere because he was wearing a Jags shirt. So I support the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. Maybe Tim Tebow making a comeback there too. I don't know. What do you think about that, Josh?
That's got to be the craziest kind of story ever because, I mean, for the longest time, he's like, I'm just not going to play tight end, and now he is. And it's like, what? Like, you could have been doing this all along if you really wanted to. So, personally, I think it's a little bit ridiculous. But, I mean, maybe it's more of a leadership thing than anything else. Maybe I have no clue. I think it's a little bit ridiculous, but I mean, Urban Meyer did coach Tim Tebow, if I'm not mistaken. So, that I'd say probably has more to do with that than anything else.
It's not a great comparison, but Tim Tebow reminds me a little bit of Bo Jackson in the sense, like Bo Jackson obviously was an all-star in the NFL and MLB, but he never really found a home. He couldn't decide whether to do the football or baseball thing. Tim Tebow almost made it to the big leagues in baseball, and then obviously he has his college football analyst role. He won a playoff game in the NFL, so he's like kind of bounced around, but never really thrived, I would say, in a certain positions. Kind of like a master of none, but like he's like a Swiss Army knife. He can do it all. You know what I'm saying? So best of luck to Tim Tebow. The fact that he's been able to stay top of mind on people's opinions and thoughts in the world of sports for this long. He won the Heisman Trophy in 2008. I mean, that's a long time to stay on the top of mind in the sports world. So kudos to him.
Yeah, well, and I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about my Dallas Cowboys.
What you think?
America's team, so however you want to look at it. it is what it is. So get over it. All of the 31 NFL teams, we are American. But no, I think it was good. I think we had to go defense, and I think 8 of our 11 picks or something like that were, I don't know how many picks, we had quite a few, were defense. I don't think we took an offensive player till like, the 5th or 6th round. So I think the players we got were good. Obviously, I think a lot of people were thinking we were going to go like Patrick Surtain at 10, and then obviously both the 2 top corners that a lot of people had pegged for Dallas went off the board before 10. So they traded out of the 10 spot to the 12 spot. And some people were upset about that because they traded with Philadelphia, but it was like, well, if Philly didn't get, who did they get? It was the Heisman Trophy winner.
Devontae Smith.
Yeah, so it's like,
yep.
if Philly didn't get Smith, the Giants were going to get Smith. And so either way, they were going to lose it to, a divisional opponent. And so,
right.
I think it's fine that he goes to the Eagles. So, and we got what many people consider the best defensive player in the draft in Parsons. So overall, I'm happy with it. I think if our offensive line can stay healthy, we're going to have a really great offensive team. It's just going to be, can Dan Quinn coach up this defense?
The Cowboys have always had the weapons, even with Dak Prescott. I feel like they've had the weapons between Zeke, bringing in Amari Cooper as well, which I think giving up a first rounder for Amari Cooper was the right call. Then you drafted CeeDee Lamb last year, so they got the weapons. It's really been the defense, man. Like, if you're giving up 35, 40 points a game, maybe not statistically, but it feels like it. It's a shootout. You're not going to win, or at least go in the playoffs. Now, the NFC East is a little bit weak. Like, the fact that last year that the Washington football team made it to the playoffs was outrageous. But, I mean, the Cowboys are right there. Sean Lee retiring, I think, definitely played a factor in who the Cowboys drafted. So, I think it's good play. Gotta shore up that defense. Aaron Rodgers might disagree with you on who America's team is. But then again, he might not be playing for the Green Bay Packers next year, right?
And let's get to that here in a minute. But
yeah,
you can complain about that all you want, people. But when you look at it, the Cowboys have been and I'm a Cowboys fan, and I'm saying this: we've been mediocre for the last 20 years, and we still get the highest ratings when it comes to football. So I mean. Hey,
that's true.
It is what it is. So no.
Sorry, haters, right? Yeah. If I were you, I would say that, man. I'll tell you what. For my fandom, I'm a football free agent right now. I don't know who I'm going to cheer for.
I'll get you a Cowboys polo for you. There you go. We'll get you
probably anybody but the Cowboys. I'm sorry.
All right, well, that's our show.
Can't do it.
No, that's our show for today.
It's been fun, everybody.
We'll have a new co-host next week. But let's talk about this Aaron Rodgers news. I mean, I don't know what to make of this yet. Obviously, it sounds like he's played his last snap in Green Bay, just from all reports. But are these reports true? Are they accurate? I haven't obviously had the time to really listen to all the sports talk this morning, where you kind of hear from people talk about sources and whatnot. But it sounds like he's done. I mean, the one thing, and I was talking with our coworker. Cook on this about this Saturday, is that or maybe someone else. I was talking with someone about this, but he would have to get back upwards of $30 million in guaranteed money if Green Bay wanted it, right? So if he retired and didn't play another down, Green Bay could say, okay, give us that that guaranteed money back. I mean, we've seen it happen before. It's not really a good thing for what teams to do. I think the last big name to do that happened with was Calvin Johnson, which is a completely different scenario. Detroit messed that up royally. So what do you think about that, Scott?
It's hard to walk away from that kind of money. That is so true, and that's a very valid point as well. Aaron Rodgers, when they drafted Jordan Love last year, I thought he was so mad that he was going to put on an MVP type performance last season, and you know what? He did. So kudos to him in that regard. But also, it's kind of funny. I was watching the Office the other day when Michael does the deposition with Jan, and he's like, Dunder Mifflin has displayed a pattern of disrespect towards its employees, kind of speaking the line. But if Aaron Rodgers were to come in and say that, I would totally get it. I would totally understand. Look, in the draft and whatnot, they've had multiple years that they've had opportunities to draft weapons around him and shore up that offensive line, give him a really good running back receivers, and they haven't done it. They have drafted defensive players majority, and they went defense again in the draft this year. So if you're Aaron Rodgers, you realize that you have a number of years left. He's, 37, 38 years old now. So I get it. I get it. He's from California as well. I think all reports are saying he wants to go back to the West Coast. I don't blame him, man. Kind of like J.J. Watt in Houston here. He's in the twilight of his career. He realizes that the window is closing for him to win a Super Bowl. And the fact that he has only one Super Bowl is a travesty. That guy might be the most talented, not the best, the most talented quarterback arguably ever. And he only has one Super Bowl to show for it. So that's probably a testament to the Green Bay organization, to be honest. Also, I've heard he's probably not the most likable guy, to be honest. But, he could retire and give it all up and go host Jeopardy for all we know. He'll make a killing doing that. So anything is on the table for Aaron Rodgers right now. What you think, Josh? Oh, I can't hear you, man.
Sorry, I had myself muted there for a second.
There we go. Okay.
Thank you for pointing that out. So you may have you may have a good point about
all bets are off.
You made up a good point about the wide receivers. I think it was Devontae Adams or something like that had been the highest drafted wide receiver in Green Bay, and it's been however many years, and he was third round or something, and it's
third round. That was a home run of a draft pick. I think they got kind of lucky that they got Devontae Adams when he did. So
yeah, and it's not like the last 2 years have been wide receiver barren, if you will. So I don't know Green Bay, but then the question, Scott, to you is, does Green Bay give up or does a team that's trading for Aaron Rodgers give up what Green Bay is going to ask for him?
Man, that was kind of the question with Deshaun Watson for a little bit. With the asking price. Wow, how big is the asking price? How big is your asking price for Aaron Rodgers? I don't know. Look, we cover high school sports. I'm not an NFL draft analyst or anything like that. I follow based off who's on my fantasy football team, which he was my quarterback this year. I know nobody cares, but look, you got to – if you're a team, it depends who you are. The Denver Broncos, I think right now, are one of the betting favorites to get Aaron Rodgers. They probably feel like they're a quarterback away. So if you're John Elway with the Broncos, you might be willing to give up at least 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers. I can't remember how much they gave up to get Tom Brady, but they got a Super Bowl out of it. And if you can get at least one Super Bowl, that's worth it.
I think you mean Peyton Manning there. I think you said Brady, but for the Broncos. But
my bad. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the main question is at his age, and we really don't know how many more years he's going to play. Is do you give up, basically an arm and a leg for that? So you're going to have to feel pretty confident in your team, both offensively and defensively, where it's like, okay, we just need a quarterback. And maybe that's why they didn't take one when they did. So because a lot of people were thinking, Denver would take a quarterback there at 9. I think it was 9 or 7 or whatever they picked earlier in the draft, and then they picked one of the 2 cornerbacks that Dallas was going for. So. Yeah, like I said, I know we're a high school based company, but hey, we like to talk sports around here. So that's the Monday show for you. We got to talk sports, but let's go to all sports. Yeah, let's go to the high school realm here. We got a lot of state meets coming up. We got state track coming up. We got lacrosse coming up. Which, by the way, lacrosse for both the boys and the girls going to be streamed live on Vype. There you go. Big news there. So we'll have both the boys and the girls being streamed for you coming up this weekend. I do have the boys' schedule on me, so I'm going to go ahead and throw that up real quick, and we can go over it. So let's see if we can go back yet. So here is the Class 2A. So 4 teams left: Highland Park Woodlands, Dallas Jesuit, and Episcopal Dallas. So we got a champion coming from there. We got Vandergrift, Austin, St. Mark's, and Compel in the Class A. Moving on, we got Class B. We got Keller, Atascocita, Westlake, and Pearland. In Class C, we got Grapevine and Magnolia, so only one game there. That's going to be for the championship. Class D, Bridge and Trinity Valley. And I do believe that's it. So those are the boys. The girls, I don't have those readily available, but I've been working closely with the boys, so I had those on me. So We got some good lacrosse coming up. I mean, lacrosse isn't known to be quote unquote big in Texas. It's not like your football or basketball powerhouse, but it seems to be a growing sport here in Texas. Scotty?
I would say that lacrosse might be the fastest growing sport in the state of Texas. I have no numbers to back it up, just so the haters out there. I have no numbers to back it up, but that's what it feels like to me, because a lot of really good athletes are playing lacrosse, and because it's also not as physically taxing, I think, as football. So if you have a person who's really shifty, but still loves to get a little physical on the course, maybe hit somebody or whatnot, lacrosse is probably the sport for you. I feel like a lot of people down here in Houston who play lacrosse, if they lived up north, would play hockey, but hockey's not as big down here. Now, hockey is bigger in the Metroplex, so I'll give them that. But yeah, here in Houston, it's no surprise, though, that lacrosse is growing. Youth participation is up in lacrosse as well. I think they just kind of need to help the publicity of it. I think that's one thing we can do here at Vype, is help these lacrosse things. And then if lacrosse can become a UIL sport, that would actually be a really big deal. I don't know if there's any thoughts or plans of making that happen or not, but it wouldn't surprise me if it happened soon.
Yeah, and I think it's always, like you said, I think a lot of us are proponents of multi-sport athletes. I think that's also a growing popularity, where people are realizing, hey, you shouldn't just stick to one sport, because you can get a lot out of participating in multiple sports. And I think lacrosse is one of those where, you're talking about you're running, cutting, all that stuff, hand-eye coordination, what have you. So good sport to play in, and we're excited for the semifinals and finals again to be streamed on Vype.com coming this weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. It uses all of it, and it's kind of like basketball in the sense where it's quick cuts up and down the court, and you got to use the hand-eye. The hand-eye is the biggest thing. Look, yeah, I can't see that ball there on the court when they're cradling it and passing it back and forth. Some of those shots are outrageous, too, that they make. I mean, behind the back, underneath the legs, I'm here for it all. Give it all to me. We got a highlight video that's going up on the YouTube page tonight, so
there you go. We also have state track coming up this week. We got now, me and you were talking before the show and trying to find the information. That's a lot harder to find, because you got so many more events. It's not like just teams, right? But Josh Cook has claimed, and I'm sure he may talk about this tomorrow, which, by the way, and I'll mention at the end, we are doing a Tuesday show tomorrow, is that, watch out for Duncanville. Kind of the last hurrah for head track coach, Leon, who has let me find that out real quick. But he just got hired on as a head coach, football coach somewhere else. I think it might be Lancaster, but let me double check while you give us your thoughts on the track meet coming up.
Yeah, so for the full in-depth track meet, that's gone tomorrow's show. Josh Cook, Vype media reporter, managing editor of the magazine. He'll be on the grounds in Austin for the state track meet, a state track and field meet, and he'll give you the full breakdown tomorrow. This guy really knows his track and field. He's the one who caught that Matthew Bowling video that broke Twitter, broke the internet. He was right there. He gets it. One thing that I heard, because I was trying to find some. No, and he will remind you about it. And look, I don't blame him. I would do the same thing. There's so many athletes, because there's so many events that go in at track and field. So I wish all the athletes best of luck in making it. And then whoever comes out on top as the team, kind of like we were talking about wrestling last week, there's just so many meets and whatnot. So that's probably definitely coming tomorrow. Also worth noting, the TAPS track and field meet was this last weekend. So big shouts to all those who competed. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, St. Agnes won the girls 6A. St. Thomas won the boys 6A. Tyler Grace won girls 5A. And I can't remember who won boys 5A. I'm sorry. Can't remember who it was.
We'll get that out.
Can we get a fact check on that?
Hey, let's.
I'm on the Twitter right now.
There you go. Well, while you do that, I will confirm so Coach Leon, head track coach for Duncanville and assistant football coach is, and I think he's finished up the season. I don't know when that's effective, but I would assume they're going to let him finish up, obviously, the season there at Duncanville, since they are, like you said, their team vying for some gold medals here coming up at state.
Some serious gold medal.
But he will be moving on to Lancaster, so if he hasn't already again. And, so yeah, but excited. Well, and he was actually the first guest for Coach Nash on our iCoach podcast. Which, by the way, if you have not checked that out, go and check it out. It's on. I think it's. You can just type in iCoach Marvin Nash on YouTube and it'll pop. I think it's Coach Nash Football is the YouTube page. But I think we've had 4 episodes in, and really, I mean, we had Coach. I'm going to butcher the name, Regalado, the kind of viral sensation football coach who kind of got that viral sensation, he went viral during the pandemic.
The TikTok star.
Yeah, and then he signed on as the recruiting assistant for Washington State I think about 2 months ago now, or around, somewhere around that time frame. So that was our latest. That was his latest episode. So definitely check it out if you haven't. New episodes dropping every week on that. But I think the 5, yes, 5.
Well, no, who won 5A?
Yes,
track and field boys, TAPS, Brentwood Christian.
There you go, an Austin area school. Yes, I know them well. Yep. So
they were at the track and field photo shoot, so we got to talk to them, and they're paid. Their interviews on the Vype page, so go check out the Vype.
I think final high school notes is softball playoffs have started. Baseball playoffs are starting this week. Our baseball rankings, by the way, will come out tomorrow or Wednesday. So sometimes before baseball playoffs start this week. There were some games that got rained out in Austin. Lots of bad weather in Austin this weekend, so a lot of games are being played today. So I decided to push the rankings back to those games because it's basically going to be the last baseball rankings of the season. We may come up with a comprehensive list kind of after the state's over, so sometime in June, just as a kind of a final rankings, if you will. I'm kind of working through that thought process, but so baseball rankings come out tomorrow. Softball rankings are done until the end, and most of our teams are doing pretty decent so far. I think obviously the team to watch in our area is going to be Leander. Everyone's going to be looking to see if they can keep that undefeated, record and really end the season ranked number 1 nationally, which I don't know if that's ever happened in softball before for Texas. We'll have to look into that, but that would be certainly something to watch as the softball playoffs progress.
Number 1 team in the country, man. Like, that is so cool. It's in Leander, Texas, just outside of Austin. Who would have thought? But they got a squad down there in Leander. So definitely keep an eye on them. I think they're probably going to be one of the teams to beat. There are some good teams down here in the Houston area. Clear Springs down in South Houston. They went undefeated in their regular season play. So any team that's undefeated that means you got a good squad here. Also, Lake Creek in the 5A up in the Montgomery area. Keep an eye on them. Region 3 and 5A softball is really tough because you got Barbers Hill, Santa Fe, and Lake Creek. So those are the 3 teams out of the Houston area to keep an eye on 5A softball.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where both softball and baseball end up. We've got a lot of good teams in our areas. I mean, of course, but excited to see where that ends. Scotty T, you got any more sports to talk about before we move into your favorite segment?
I think I'm all good here. Hopefully, once the first round or 2 of the softball playoffs is underway, I think we'll have a little bit better idea of who we expect to see at the state tournament. So next week will probably be a little deeper dive in softball as well as the state track and field recap. So no, I think that's pretty much it on the high school front. We did the girl. Josh, I want to ask you about this. You were broadcasting the essentially all-star game of girls high school basketball. Am I right? How did that go?
It went good. It was a little exciting game. Got a little, I wouldn't say chippy, but they had a lot of fun towards the end. It got down to it was kind of back and forth the whole game, and I think as Team Blue, Team Blue won. Let me check on that. Give me 1 second. But while I do that, basically it got down to like a 6-point game, and then right towards the end, everyone was like constantly calling timeouts and subbing in, subbing out. It was a great Team White won. Team White. So Team White won. And so they basically had a 6-point lead at once. Team Blue had cut into the lead, and they had a little momentum. And so they kept on just calling timeouts to sub in, sub out, and all that stuff. It was a lot of fun. Everyone had a blast, and I know it was great to see these girls get to showcase their talents before they head off to various colleges. I mean, you got Texas commits, OU commits, all kinds of different schools. It was a great event all around. Josh Cook was on the call, got to interview a lot of coaches. So if you haven't, it is on your YouTube page. Go back and watch it. A lot of fun this weekend.
Fantastic, man. I think we should move on to what is that mascot.
All right. Well,
my favorite segment. Your favorite
segment. Who's that mascot? So far,
who's that mascot?
As you've been saying, Scott, it's if it's for baseball, you'd be having a good percentage. 1 for 3 the last 2 weeks. Got some new ones. I think you could potentially go 2 for 3 this week. I think there's potential for 2 for 3. All right.
You think I'm doing good, man? I'm saying I'm a Hall of Famer with this. Like, I'm a Hall of Famer right now, and who's that mascot? 1 out of 3, 33%.
Well, I think you have, like I said, the chance to go 2 for 3 this week. So let's get right into it, shall we? We got our first team. Our first team today is Alvin. What is the mascot of Alvin?
Oh gosh, I want to say Yellow Jackets.
That's not to be confused with Alvin Shadow Creek. This is Alvin, and it is the Alvin Yellow Jackets. There you go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I knew you had it in you. I could see you right on the tip of your tongue in there, and you got it at the last second. This next one, I think you should get as well. Here we go. Hondo.
Oh, no. I don't know. Oh, I see him in our rankings every single week.
So your guess is the Hondo I don't knows. And
the Hondo I don't know.
That's incorrect. It's the Hondo Owls. The Hondo Owls.
Owls. No. Man, I thought that. I'm really mad at myself. You know, that just reminded me. Are you watching the new Mighty Duck series?
I am. I love it, man. I went back and watched all the Mighty Ducks before it, and it's just super nostalgia right there.
I was really close to saying the Hondo Don't Bothers. From Mighty Ducks.
The last one, and
man,
I kind of picked this one to maybe trip you up. So we'll see if it works. Okay, so we got Rice.
Tigers.
So
say Rice Tigers.
I wanted to put that in there because
not the Owls.
Because you'd be like, "There's no way that the Rice High School could be the Owls as well, right?" And that's right. They're not the Owls, but
okay,
they're also not the Tigers. It's the Rice Bulldogs. The Rice Bulldogs. So hey, you're keeping pat. Keep it. You're just steady 1 for 3 every week, man. 1 for 3 every week.
I'm impressed I got the Yellow Jackets, to be honest, of Alvin. You know who went to Alvin High School was Hall of Famer Nolan Ryan.
Oh, I did not know that. There you go. One of Texas royalty right there. Texas royalty.
That's right.
Well, we did have so that's our who's that mascot segment, but we also came up with a new segment. You came up with a new segment last week, and so we're gonna move on. This is our final segment of the show, and that's our one good thing segment. So that's where we talk about just one good thing that's happened to us this past week. So, Scotty T, let's start with you. What's one good thing for you?
So here's my one good thing this week, and it was yesterday. It was a Twitter thread that I saw. It was from the Arizona Diamondbacks Twitter feed. So the headline is, I'm not sure if you saw it, but for those who didn't, here's what happened. The Diamondbacks helped a guy spy on his friend's date in the Twitter thread of the year. So what happened was that there's this guy, and he's got a pretty good following on Twitter. It's called Buck Army. He's a big YouTuber, 100,000 subs, and it's kind of an e-gamer type person. He said, "Hey, at D-backs, my roommate is on a date, 6 rows above home plate. Any chance we could tell the cameraman to zoom out a bit so I can see how it's going?" And they tweeted back. They said, "You'll probably have better luck with the TV crew," and tagged at Valley Sports. And then he was like, "Hey, any chance?" And the Diamondbacks said, "What's he wearing? Now we're curious." So then he went through, he's wearing a D-back spring training shirt. The girl, I think, is wearing green. ... I hope he didn't lie about his seats. And then the Diamondbacks couldn't find him. Apparently, he did lie about the suites. Then Bally Sports tweeted a really funny gif being like, ooh, boy, I don't know. And then he tracked him on the Find My Friends. Turns out he was on the third base side, I think, or whatever. And then he tweeted back, says, ladies and gentlemen, we got him. And then they go on, and then they were tweeting back and forth about where they were, like if they were laughing back and forth to each other, like, and then people are chiming in, hey, keep us updated, we're really invested in it. And then his friend found out what was going on social media, and then just texted him and said, haha, you're a bad word. And so then they got him up on the big screen board, and turns out the date went really well, and there's going to be a third date between this guy and his date. So big shouts to the Arizona Diamondbacks getting in the mix with this guy on Twitter. So that's my one good thing for this week.
Yeah, definitely saw that one, and I had seen the update this morning as well, as far as there being a third date. So it'll be interesting. Wouldn't that be that's a story right there? Where if it works out, that's a story that to have to tell to your kids and grandkids one day. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm pretty sure we'll get updated eventually. My one good thing is it's a big thing, and I guess it's just congratulations to all the people that we talked about earlier, to all the people that got drafted. There's that kind of, I wouldn't call it viral, just informative thing where it's like a fraction of a percent of everyone that starts playing football at the high school level makes it to the NFL. So congratulations. And then kind of a sidebar to that, Michael Parsons, the first pick by the Cowboys in their draft, lifelong Cowboys fan, so it's one of those things where it's like, you always love to see that and there may be more out there from other teams, but that's just the one I know, because of course I'm a big Cowboys fan. It's like because it's always funny when you hear people talk about, the pros talk about teams and stuff, but it's like, what, probably upwards of 3/4 or more of these people have grown up a lifelong blank fan, right? And so it's like, it's always good when you can just keep your fandom intact because you got drafted to the team you root for, right? So I think that's definitely my one good thing is Michael Parsons got to the team he's been a lifelong fan of.
You know what's also to that point? First off, from Houston news, Jalen Waddle goes to the Dolphins, reunited with Tua Tagovailoa. So shouts to him. Houston kid, went to Episcopal High School. How about Najee Harris? Najee Harris, this is, I guess, another good thing. He hosted a draft party, I believe, Wac, correct me if I'm wrong, at the homeless shelter that he grew up in, or one of the foster care homes that he grew up in.
I believe it's the homeless shelter that him and his mom were at briefly for a time, yes.
And so, talk about coming full circle. Literally, I'm getting chills just thinking about it right now, man. Like, that is unbelievable. That kind of shows the character that Najee Harris has. First round draft pick. Don't forget where you came from. He has never forgotten that. And I think now, especially that he's in the NFL, I think he's the kind of guy that's just going to keep giving back to the community. And so that's another one good thing that I got for this week.
Yeah, well, and you bring up a good point with people getting reunited. But we didn't talk about this earlier. Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne, who just graduated together, they're going to be playing together at Jacksonville, So I think there's one or two more instances of that happening. So very, very unique.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Yep.
Joe Burrow and his receiver.
Jamar Chase.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's happened quite a few times in this draft. And so very, very interested to see how that dynamic works with those teams because they've had those relationships. So, but I think that pretty much covers our show today, Scott. So any last words or thoughts you want to give out there?
Thanks, everybody, for watching, for tuning in. I believe this is the third week that we have done this, so let us know what you think. If you're here in the chat section, looks like it's pretty quiet so far. But if you're watching the rewatch, comment below on what you think, because we'd love to hear from you. Maybe any topics that you want us to talk about, too.
Well, fourth time for me. You weren't there for episode 1, so I'll never let you live that down, Scotty. No, but
I'm gone.
Well, and I think the more we do the show, I think we're going to start getting more traction in the comments. So it just takes time, and Scotty, we'll shout out to CEO Shane, who was watching along, is like, hey man, turn your volume up a little. So hey, it's always, we're that company where everyone does a little bit of everything. So shout out to our CEO for for keeping us in check and making sure we sound good. Until then, hey, show tomorrow. Josh Cook, Matt Malatesta will be on. Scotty and me will be behind the camera tomorrow. But until then, we'll be back next Monday with some state recaps from track and keep you up to date on the baseball and softball know-how. And till then, that's the Monday show. I'm Wac. That's Scotty T. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.